I've got a question, but I think I need a fairly lengthy intro. Since I've been visiting with you, my capacity for intense relationship has increased exponentially. My ability to be emotionally available is easy. And I was touched yesterday when you said, what you really have to look for, what you really want to do, is you want to look for somebody to love, not for somebody who's going to love you. And I really do get that. But what happens is, so you get somebody that you love, and that feels really good. So then they really love you. That really feels good too. And in being loved is such a wonderful feeling. Sometimes that overcomes the loving and almost is an addictive experience where you want it, you need it. You're in it. And then the minute you go there, because I really think this whole Abraham thing really is a journey from being afraid to love. That's basically the two ends of the stick. So if you're addicted to something, if you can lose it, then you can have fear. So I figured out that if I love myself, and I really love myself, and I love you, then if you love me, it doesn't become a need thing, it becomes an enjoy thing. But my question is about sex.
Well, before you go there, before he goes there, I want to clarify, because everything you said is wonderful and we are in agreement with it, but there's something that we want to enhance just a little bit. And that is that when you say that you have found that you can be emotionally available, we want to encourage you to decide to be only emotionally available to the source within you. And then ask everyone who is your lover to rendezvous with you at that level.
Because I can trust myself. And if I meet somebody just because I like them, doesn't mean I know them. And you have to know somebody long enough to trust them.
Well, there's another reason for that. All of that may very well be true, but here's the reason that it is true if it is. If you've decided to only be emotionally available to the source within you, so that now the fullness of who you are is holding that other person as your object of attention.
Right.
Now, in that complete alignment with source, you are just flooding love to you and through you and all over them. And how they are accepting it and what they are reflecting back becomes irrelevant. But if you don't take the time to do that, you see, that addiction that you were talking about is when you hold someone as your object of attention, and you are so right, it does feel so good. But then if they turn their attention away from you, which they must do,
sure,
because there are other things that they need to do and other people that they want to talk to. So when they turn their attention away, if you've become dependent upon them to be the source of this energy, now you're like a puppet that someone has let go of the strings.
You don't have any power.
So you're wanting to make sure that the source of your flow, the source of your alignment, the source of your love is your own connection with who you are. Then you never get depleted. It's why we call it source. Source is resourceful. Source just keeps resourcing. Where other humans often are depleted, and that's why they need you.
What I get from it and what I got from it, because of you, really, is that ecstasy. I mean, I've been able to go. It's unbelievable. I didn't know you could be like that. And I realized that all that is inside me. That's coming from me. That it is me. It's not the other person.
It for sure is you. But the clarification that we want to make is, it's you because you've looked for love in all the right places finally. It's you because you're looking for that connection. You're coming to that alignment. It's you because you took the time to make sure that it is all of you. And that makes what you're getting back from another irrelevant to that. But because of law of attraction, once you're there, you must attract someone who has the capacity to do the same. And when you do, That's that ecstasy that you're
So
talking
I've been
about.
looking for love in all the wrong places.
Well, you're looking for love. Most people are looking for love in all the wrong places when they're wanting another person to give it to them.
No, I mean, somebody may not be able to do what we're talking about. But coming back to the sex thing, okay, and this is like, so you're going along and you really are, you get it, and you are loving somebody. And you realize it really is about loving somebody. It's not about being loved. But then
But we have to say something more. It's really about loving somebody. It's not about being loved. But even more than that, it's being the vibration of that which is love.
Yes.
In other words, that's the whole point of being in connection with who you really are. You become the vibrational equivalent and essence of that which is love. It's a vibrational thing, you see.
That's why you can fly, yeah. But it seems like to me, and it happens with me, if you become physically involved with somebody and you're coming from that base of love, that's a whole other amazing trip. But for some reason, that whole sex thing seems to wreck the other deal. I just don't understand how you make those two things work together so you don't lose it. Because it's so nice. And you go, oh, shit, I did it again. You know? I'm sorry.
Well, it's about, in the instance that you've offered, it's about being distracted from your alignment. So if that is your experience, something's happening in the physicalness of it that is distracting you from your alignment. And it may just be that your alignment wasn't secure enough prior to the physical interaction. It could be that. Because when you are in alignment with who you are, in other words, every single subject, whether it's sexuality or a conversation or building a piece of furniture, in every interaction, you can do it from inside the vortex or outside the vortex.
Right.
And anything that you do from inside the vortex is always infinitely more satisfying than if you do it from outside the vortex. So sexuality is one of those subjects like religion or like God, where so many people are hung up about it because they have all kinds of ways that they've been thinking about it that weren't conducive to aligning them with source energy. There are a lot of people that have been condemning sex or particular kinds of sex or sexuality in and of itself in so many ways that just the engaging in it makes them feel less than connected. And we think what you're hitting upon here is that a lot of people want to make the distinction between that which is spiritual, which is that which you were describing when you were saying what a trip it is, and that which is physical or materialistic or mundane or even corporal.
Well, it's different than that though, because what happens is the whole spiritual thing is such a level of intimacy. It's just exquisite. And then what happens is you find out that the whole sexual thing it's not about bodies. It's a level of intimacy too.
Yes.
Which is just almost the equivalent of that. But there seems to be something in being in that arena that causes one to have a loss, a breakdown.
Well, it doesn't have to be that way. That's the thing that we're saying to you. It doesn't have to be that way. And as it is your intention for it to not be that way, then in time you'll figure out what it is that you're wanting to do with the power of your own mind. But we think that the clue for you into what is going wrong falls in those opening words to us when you said that you have discovered how to be emotionally available. And it really comes to that experience that we were talking about earlier, where if you are in a vibration that is different than your partner, especially, you know what we were talking about in any union or coming together in any conversation, or especially a sexual experience, there is an innate from the perspective of both partners to want to meet somewhere in some sort of harmony. And so if you're vibrationally here and your partner is vibrationally here, both of you, without even consciously knowing you're doing it, are trying to come to some sort of level. And we know for sure that you're doing it because you just told us that you want to be emotionally available. And so what we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes is that we would start building this emotional grid that says, I'm going to maintain my spiritual frequency, and I'm going to ask the universe to deliver to me a sexual partner that will meet me on those spiritual terms.
Where I don't lose myself.
Where you don't lose yourself.
Yeah.
Because, and isn't it always, whether it's a conversation or a sexual engagement, isn't it always losing yourself when you're willing to come to meet another partner?
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's about, because the whole sexual game and the whole sexual attraction has a whole other set of rules. It sort of falls into the category of the way most people do most of their creating.
There's a lot of power stuff that goes on in there that I find unpleasant.
And so you just have to omit that from your vibrational frequency long enough that the partner that comes to you doesn't have it either. Or you could just say to yourself, I'm no longer emotionally available to anyone who's not in the vicinity of my emotion.
That's the point, isn't it?
I'm not gonna come. I'm not gonna be emotionally available anymore. I'm emotionally available. Come on in. And that's what your inner being says. Your inner being, the only reason that you could ever have negative emotion is because your inner being won't be emotionally available to you unless you're up to speed. In other words, your inner being is stubborn. Join us or don't, but we're not coming there.